Okay, looks like we're live. Welcome to the live stream. So we already have 2 people here. Excellent. Asian Networks is here and Daniel Panic. Good to have you here as always. So today's topic, as you know, is vaccination, as you know from the title. Let me wait a little more. Let me wait one or 2 minutes until we have a couple more people in the chat. For that, let me know how your week was. For me, was okay. Actually took 2 days off. That was nice. Kind of, but more on that in a minute. And yeah, currently I'm alone at home alone. So have time for myself and can talk to you and all that. Slayer Gerald, 25, thank you for being here. Things are good, thankfully now. I hope they're also fine for you. Thanks for asking. Yeah, again, let me know how your week was, how you're doing, where you're from, if I don't know already. And what was I talking about? Yeah, so I announced this video, this live stream on Instagram and on YouTube stories. Maybe you've seen that. So 3 topics today. 1 is getting vaccinated here. 2 is making pasta. That's really a no topic. And 3 is updates on building a house and stuff in Japan. So very exciting. And then maybe a 4th one would be the next video. What's gonna happen with that one? Since I actually planned, as you may remember, or at least in the last stream, I planned, I like kind of maybe foolishly announced that it will be out on Thursday, which was 2 days ago, and it's not out yet. So there will also be an update on that. From India, nice, good to have you here. And doing good, excellent. Excellent. Okay, now let me get into the topic. Oh, by the way, can you see me clear? Am I in focus for you? It looks like I'm not perfectly for me. Try that. Yeah. I could risk it and try to go autofocus with this camera, but I really don't want to. Because maybe worst case, it's just like, you never see me clearly. Daniel was going to mention that he thought I said you had 3 things you are thinking about selling. I think you only showed 2. Oh, about selling. Okay, let's talk about this too. Then we have 5 topics. That's an excellent agenda. So first one, vaccination. I was vaccinated the second time on Thursday. So on Wednesday I took off because I had to get some documents from my next visa. Oh, sorry, I have maybe close the window here. For my next visa, permanent visa, so I needed lots of documents for that. And then Thursday I went to Tokyo, which is unfortunately Corona is having a party in Tokyo right now. So it's like 4,000 cases or more now a day. So Japan is exploding right now. Let me quickly check that. Wait a second. So Japan has, on the 6th, it had 15,000 cases, which is a new record, I think. It's yesterday that it was the 6th. For your information, in case you don't know that, like me. So yeah, it's pretty terrible here right now when it comes to these numbers. Still, I made my way to Tokyo to get vaccinated again, and did it successfully Thursday morning, like 11 a.m. or so. And I already didn't plan too much in the afternoon because I wanted to get home as soon as I could, which I did, and it was a good decision because it started to hurt a lot at the arm And then I didn't feel really great, couldn't sleep. Maybe I had fever, I don't know. But our measure, what is it called? The measuring thing for measuring fever? I don't know. Um, ran out of battery, so I don't know if I actually had one, but it was pretty unfun. Yesterday was kind of in a hibernation mode or so, but so not terrible, but also not good enough to go outside and do anything great. And so I took off yesterday as well. And today I'm fine again. So it still hurts a little bit if I touch it, but other than that, it's okay. So I think the worst parts are over. Now after 2 weeks or so, it should be kind of activated, so to speak. So that's the story about vaccination. Not fun at all. Yeah. Some of my friends didn't have anything or had more side effects with the first shot. Some other friends had... Oh, Daniel, thank you so much. Thermometer. Okay, just like in German. Who would have thought? I thought that's too easy. But no, it's not. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, didn't. Thank you. Yeah, so that was the first one. Vaccination. I wouldn't say don't recommend, but I also wouldn't say recommend because it's really not fun. And don't listen to me when it comes to recommendations about vaccination or anything. Listen to a healthcare professional, please. So that's the first one. Second one, I made pasta today. That's all. So pasta was okay. Still have some left. Yeah. Third one. What was the third one? Yeah. Purchasing a house. So last time or so, or last stream and a couple of streams before that, I talked about that we found some area, some land, which was rather cheap for the area, rather big also for Japanese and for Japan. Probably this has to do with taxes also and a couple of things. But yeah, I made all the calculations, how much taxes we would have to pay, around $200 a month on average. For your information, for a 400 square meters plot of land. And we talked to some house building company people that would take care of all this agency contact and everything around that. Yeah, but still we had to decide, like, my thinking is eventually we will leave Japan at some point. So, but even if we do that, we will certainly come back here a lot, since my wife is Japanese, and I like Japan. So having a house wouldn't be a waste or so. So probably we could keep it and still use it exactly looks like Christoph says, as a vacation house. Still, then I said, okay, yeah, but I mean, a good point, for example, to leave Japan would be when my older kids' kindergarten is over, before the school starts. So school starts in Germany, in my area, in September, middle of September. Kindergarten here ends in April, end of March, and that would be in 2023. So if we would build a house, that would mean 2022, maybe takes a year, 2022 September, and then leave half a year later. So that would not be really, make sense. So we had a lot more talks about that, and then eventually we talked to the building company guy and so on, who informed us that the plot of land we are looking at, it was sold. Oh, so much for that. That's the house update. Now, let me quickly check your messages. I'm in frame, okay, and can fiddle if I want to. No. If everything is good for you, it's good for me. Then Daniel, about the products. Are you sure you don't want to just make a fake vaccine papers and then get arrested using it when you cross a border, like those people going to Canada? Why would you do that? Just go into quarantine, I guess. I mean, I don't know how the rules are in Canada. But if you go to Germany, you need either a negative test, or you need to be vaccinated, or you have to have had corona, or you need to quarantine. I think that's the rules. Yeah. And I'm also Japan. I think we don't have the passport yet. They want to make they want to give the people the ability to apply online at some point, but I don't know when this point will be reached. So yeah, I have a paper that says all that, but it's in Japanese and so on. So I don't know if that would count. So if I was to go to Germany anytime soon, then I would take a test regardless before that. Yeah, okay, so looks like Christoph, I went ahead and looked at your message, but good to have you here. Slayer Gerald 25 is anti-vaccine. Totally fine. I totally understand. So I'm not like a militant pro-vaccine guy or so. That's the decision I made for myself. Lots of people I know don't want to. Also in my family, so. Then, Abu Mayang is here. Caught my stream after so long. Thank you for being here. Oh, Ace King wants to become a mangaka. How can I get access to Japan being an artist? That's tough because I don't know, so it's totally not my field. There are artist visa and so on, but I don't know. If you were an IT guy, you would apply from overseas, try to get your visa and all that. But I don't know how that works for mangaka, if that makes sense. If you have a chance, if you do that. I can imagine that usually the environment is very Japanese, so probably that makes sense. If you spoke a lot of if your Japanese was on a really high level, I think that would be a very good start. And other than that, I can't really help, I think. Looks like Christoph says that he got knocked out by the second shot. That thing hit like a truck. Ari says, yes, I got, if I got the vaccination, Moderna, not Pfizer. Yeah, inside the company. So inside company, I think it's mostly Moderna in Japan. Hey, King. Hey, Japanese journey. I want to become a... Oh, that's the same question again. Yeah, like I said. So please, I read your questions. Sometimes it takes a little longer, but I do. You don't need to repeat yourself. Depending on the area, the value of the house would lose, right? Yeah, I mean, the house definitely depreciates no matter where you are. But depending on where you are, the land's price may rise enough to counterbalance that. So if you're in a really good location in Tokyo, Roppongi or somewhere, Shinjuku, no problem. Here, yeah. So in that area, the land price was kind of stable and houses would just depreciate until they're worth nothing after 30 years or so. Okay, so looks like Christoph seems to have a little bit more of an idea and says, unless you grew up in Japan, being a mangaka is really difficult. Ninja Monkey's in the house. Good to have you here, Nathan. Ace King asked if it is a villa. No, I mean, this place particularly, I can actually show it to you now that we didn't get it, eh? Well, let me bring up Google Maps. Wait a second. Maybe not, because I have all the markers on there and you see where my house is and all that. But but let me go incognito, then we can do that. So, let me share my screen. Wait a second. Oops. Right, here we are. So, Nagano. Give me a second. It's pretty slow. It's not supposed to be that slow. I guess this will take a little longer, so while it's loading. All right, good. So this would have been somewhere around, see, here. So Now, this would have been the land. So this one here, this area in total, then also this way here. So this would have been it. So including the small road here, it's 401 square meters. So you can see there is already a house on this, and still I think like it's an apartment building and like 3 people or so, or parties still live in here. But this would be teared down before we would have gotten it. So it would be an empty land. So it's not a villa or so, it would just be land. And then what's on top of that is up to us. So if you want to build something or not. What would have been nice is there's Lawson close by. Also some vegetable gardens here. You never know if they will turn into houses anytime soon. It's likely, I think, or at least it's not unlikely. So yeah, you would have to plan accordingly. But yeah, so this is the land we didn't get. Now you know. It's corona cases in Japan. Back to me. All right. So then, looks like Christoph recommends to become a comic artist first, not necessarily a mangaka, like webcomic stuff and stuff. I see. Again, I have no idea of that, of this area. Do they have the yellow vaccine book in Japan, by the way? Not for COVID, but for all the others. I don't know. Already talks on getting a 3rd shot here, maybe in September, October. Yeah, booster shots are also here. Already starting to talk for Moderna and so on. Totally not looking forward to something like that. Xitic Gaming Hut is here. I'm doing well, and I hope you are too. Thank you. Slayer Gerald25 says, my final university exams have already begun. I'm looking forward for it to be over and graduate. I hope Japan will lift travel restrictions soon. I have plans to move to Japan after university. Yeah, good luck with that. I mean, right now, as I said in the beginning, cases are totally out of hand. So I wouldn't count on that. I think this year is not realistic. That's my opinion. Yeah. I think vaccination is getting closer to 50% or so. Let me check that. We are at, yeah, first one or more is 46%, and fully vaccinated is 32.9. So it's still a long way to go until we reach immunity, herd immunity. Daniel Panic says, in regards to mangaka, seems like they neither get paid well nor get good recognition except for very few exceptions. But, you know, I mean, I don't know, obviously. I can totally understand. But if it's what he wants to do, then as long as he can live off of it somehow. But anyway. Ace King says it must be a mansion. I mean, that would be up to us what to build on that. Wasn't exactly our plan. We want to build, or we thought about building just a house, you know, normal house, like maybe 120 square meters or so. Enough space in the garden and so on. But yeah, not gonna happen, at least not in the foreseeable future. Looks like Christoph says he wanted to be a mangaka too, but then decided with 3D animation instead. It's quite fun and not necessarily dependent on only one country. Mangaka are basically just comic authors in Japan with heavy Japanese understanding and how a Japanese school kid feels. So you can get access to Japan being an animator. Do I need to pass 12th for that? I'm thinking to drop out from college to focus on my art skills. Ooh, that's a difficult question, actually. For artist visa, what do you need? I don't know if you need a college degree or so for that. I would guess you need at least, it's probably some, I mean, you certainly need something to show what you are able to do, which may be successful career or some degree or something. Yeah, exactly. That's the biggest issue, to make it relatable for Japanese kids as a foreigner. Yeah, that's where learning Japanese, learning about Japanese culture, and all that comes into play. And of course, if you didn't go to Japanese school, then understanding Japanese school is not so easy. Nico's here. Nico, good evening. How are you and your family? Good, good, all good. How was you also had on Thursday the second shot, right? How is your arm? For example, the panty shots we always see in mangas, we foreigners find it weird and not arousing at all, but in Japan it's different. Ace King asks, is it countryside or city, the house? This is, yeah, both kind of. So this is a city, Nagano City, and this part of it, but it's in the lesser populated area of the city. And Nagano itself is a lesser populated city inside of Japan. If that makes sense. But it's not like somewhere on a mountain alone. But again, it's not gonna happen, so. Daniel says, knowing nothing about Ace King, he would say dropping out of college is probably not a good idea unless you already got a good way to support yourself well. Yeah, I mean, parents maybe. I mean, I'm not completely sure about college. I guess it also depends on where you are. If you were in Germany or somewhere like that, then where it's essentially free, then especially if you don't know yet what you want to do, I don't see an issue with that at all, being in college and all that. In the US and so on, when it's so expensive, maybe I could kind of understand dropping out to some extent. In Germany, then, of course, it's also easier to change subject, right? If you say, okay, I started mathematics and actually I like art, then you just change. Don't drop out of college unless you have a stable hustle or business that requires you to take more time to guarantee your success. Also, Bachelor of Arts is required for almost any visa in Japan. That's also what I did, by the way. So not to be a bad role model. So I dropped out of my master's because my business was doing too well. And sometimes I thought, yeah, it would have been nice. But generally, it doesn't matter, or didn't matter so far. I mean, at some point, maybe if I wanted to teach at a university or so, then I would have to have a master's, which I don't. Do you think having a TOEFL would be advantageous for aspiring English teachers in Japan? Maybe. I don't know. I mean, if you're not but you're Indian, right? So maybe you're a native English speaker. If you are, then shouldn't be an issue. In any case. And if you're not, then you can't go to like JET or this government-backed things, but you can still go to private schools, like, I don't know what there is. And I guess it could be helpful, maybe. But there are always some situations like scholarships or so on, where they require something like this, Unicert or whatever score, TOEFL score. For a 3D animator to get into Japan, you definitely need a bachelor's degree or 10 years of work experience in the same field. Okay, so that's similar to everybody else. How much time does it take to be JLPTN 2? Probably... I don't know, like maybe 2,000 hours or so? I guess 2,500. Then it depends on how much time you invest, but also, of course, some people have it easier than others. How much is it to build a house in Japan cost-wise? Depends on what you want. So the company we talked to, they are about $2,500 per square meter. So there you have your formula. If you want like 100 square meters, then it's like 250,000. Just the house, no land. And the window is open. And there are way cheaper companies as well, or like half of that or so. But I mean, this one, for example, is certainly not a high quality building. So like you can essentially scratch off the wall with the wallpaper. So and it certainly happens if you have kids. And the flooring is also, well, not real wood and all that stuff. So if you want like real wood flooring or maybe woods from the area and all that stuff, nice insulation, a house that's actually kind of warm in winter, kind of cool in summer and all that, then it's gonna be a little bit more. That is dollars, not yen. For building, not for renting. Ace King thought the house is near the rice fields in the countryside. No. So there wasn't rice field, there was just vegetable fields. So vegetable garden kind of, that happens a lot here in Nagano, in Japan in general. Not so much in Tokyo, of course, but even there, this area. So just houses and then there's a vegetable garden somewhere. And I don't know why, because it's certainly valuable land. But on the other hand, then in Germany also, we also have gardens with a lawn, which kind of could be said, why don't you use this for vegetables or houses or parking or so on? So kind of, yeah, okay, whatever you fancy. Okay, now let me try to catch up a little more. Acing lives in India and wants to go to, and when is going to a government college where the fees are very low. He doesn't want to be doing a degree, but might finish my 12th to get the certificate. Okay, I don't know what the 12th means, but all the best, of course. For all the English teachers in Japan, the first question is, do you like teaching first? Is it fun for you? No matter where you live, because you are spending most time at work. Correct. Yeah, I want to say, but you have holidays, you have school holidays off, but that's not true. That's not true. Actually, you don't. Still, sometimes I talk to English teachers and so on, and then there's at some point it's rather open. I think in Japan, people talk about money, and then we talk about, then they allow you to make so much more money, but then at some point we also talk about how much holidays I have and how much holidays they have, or how much I work and how much they work, and then it's much closer when it comes to pay. So at least the teachers I know, they have a lot of spare time. Oh, wow, Nico, thank you so much. The animation is broken, but really appreciate. Thank you so much for beautiful drawn pictures and videos. Thank you so much, Nico. Really, we're getting closer to the goal. $80. Really appreciate it. Okay, so let me try to catch up a little bit more. Yeah, English teachers. Yeah, so at least the ones I know have much more spare time than I ever had working here. Then again, today I talked to friends, and one of them did overtime yesterday, and then he got an email that he is not allowed to work more than 10 hours a day. It's like, you can't do that, not more than 10. In Japan, the limit is 14. And that does not include lunch break, which is 1 hour. So it's like unbelievable. 10 hours, like nothing here. And in Germany, then you have to, if you take 10 hours one day, then you can only work 6 hours the next day, kind of. You have to even it out with overtime. Eventually. In Japan, you may get some payment for that, or maybe not, depending on your contract. You're staying 2,000. Ah, yeah. 2,500 per square meter. Is it yen or dollars? It's dollars again. And looks like Christoph has a bachelor's and is planning to apply after COVID. Probably. Whenever that will be there. Bachelor's degree in English plus TOEFL is good enough to get a job in Japan. That would eventually lead to immigration, right? I mean, I guess maybe. I mean, get bachelor's degree in English. I don't know what that exactly entails, but so usually there are two things. One is you can go to a non-government environment, and then you can teach English if you can speak English, more or less. And the other is you go to a government like JET and so on, and then you need to be a native English speaker or have had an English education, fully English education for 12 years or more. So that's that. And TOEFL is, I guess, a nice bonus. Same as a bachelor's degree in English. Bachelor's degree is a must. In English is a bonus. Or not, I don't know. I mean, but it's not a minus. And if the job will lead to immigration, again, depends on what the school offers. Many of the non-government schools may not sponsor your initial visa and coming to Japan, but once you're here, then you may be able to change to them. But I was never an English teacher or language teacher in my life, so I'm really deeply into that. The sacrifice is, if I spend too much time English teaching or something else, I won't have enough time to spend on my art. Yeah. If you see someone making 130K but works 80 hours a week, might not necessarily be worth it. Exactly. And Daniel says, good job, Nico. Yeah, good job, Nico. Please continue. This reminds me, how you learned to speak English so well, Johannes? So in school, we had English from the 5th grade, which is Oxford English, quote unquote, which means probably kind of rather clean British English. The teacher was German, native German. So I guess he had a pretty identifiable German accent, but I couldn't tell back then, since Germans can't identify their own flaws. Like you can't, you don't know what you don't know, right? So I usually was top of class or first or second or third or something like that. But I was never very confident. So it was probably something like if you get a JLPT and you know how to write and read Japanese, but you don't really speak it. No, you don't write. You read and listen to Japanese, but you don't really speak it. I could also write English, but speaking, especially like in like a non-test scenario, but rather freely and so on, was never really my thing, which may explain my accent. So I also never really focused on stress accent and how English people pronounce things properly, or even differentiating between American and British English. But eventually, so in university, I also took some more business English classes. And eventually, when then I started my company, I got in a project where the team leader was American, didn't speak German. Another guy was Spanish, spoke some German, but generally the project's language was English. And that's where just like, when you have to use it, then you use it. And after that, I was so confident. And I've never ever since then been as confident in my English, because this project ended 2013, then 2016 I came here and went on the internet speaking English. And then that's when you learn your mistakes. And then I learned also, probably because I learned Japanese, then I learned to listen to actually the things I'm not saying correctly. And now if I pay attention, then I can hear, I cannot exactly correct it probably, but I can hear, oh yeah, this does not sound native, this doesn't, and so on. Which is a lot, probably. Probably if I said one sentence, a native speaker could tell I'm not native. Yeah. Because I never worked on that. I guess I could improve it. If I'm at 50% now, I could go to 80 maybe or something. But I don't see the benefit actually. So sometimes, I don't know if you're into that, in Japanese, there's a pitch accent debate. So like English or German and so on have stress accent, which means we make vowels longer, and we also change the pitch maybe a little bit, but we make it louder and so on. In Japan, the pitch goes down essentially. And there's a debate on like how early you should learn it, to what extent, and so on. And of course, if you want to be perfectly Japanese sounding, then it's crucial. But I would equate maybe not knowing pitch accent kind of to my English. So it's totally fine. Sometimes, rarely, people may not understand you. But yeah. And certainly you will be identified as non-native. But yeah, still. All right. JJ and his fans are very wholesome. Thank you. And then that's like, I mean, that's like a low-key compliment to yourself, but thank you. Yeah. I would say my English is pretty decent. Even managed to lose my original accent. I now have an American-sounding accent. Oh. Daniel Panic, I might start a Ace King says to Daniel Panic, he might start a YouTube and a Patreon so I can support myself. Why not? Why not? And good luck. Yeah, gambaru is wrong, Daniel. That means you give your best, but gambatte is the imperative, so that's when Ace King should give his... I'm saying this to you because I said exactly that to my wife a long time ago, and she then in return told me that's wrong. After finishing 12th, final year of high school. I see. 12th grade, eh? I might do some courses in Japan for 2 years to get access. Yeah, why not? You mean manga courses or language? Could I say something in German? Whatever you want, yeah, sure. But nobody would understand. Do you listen to Rammstein? Listen to Du hast. Okay. No, and I mean, I know Rammstein. But I never... I think I might have listened to a full song of them once or so. Because of somebody reacted to this show or something. To some professional singer, like opera singer, reacted to Rammstein's show. And I think that was actually this year when I saw the first time a whole Rammstein song. My favorite guy in Japan, Frame of Travel. Thank you for being here, Victor. Maybe the first time on the live stream? I don't know. Victor, by the way, Frame of Travel, excellent photographer. And also pretty good videographer, actually. He just doesn't know, but don't tell me. Yeah. Second time, okay. But I stream when Victor's outside, okay. Yeah, Victor, I was actually in Tokyo on Thursday, but because of the situation and because I was vaccinated, and then I was like down, I went straight home at lunchtime. So no time to meet this time. Victor says, Laia, you're the one that knows the great scenes and more. How are you feeling from the vax? All right, so yeah, no, totally not true. So Victor and I, maybe you don't know, so Victor, again, Frame of Travel in the chat, did a video which was released beginning of January, where we went to a mountain here in Nagano where there was lots of snow and beautiful and all that stuff. And it was like kind of spontaneous because we planned to go somewhere else to see monkeys here, snow monkeys. But then there was Corona there, and then, yeah, we quickly changed plan, went there, had like 3 hours of sleep or so or less. Went there, and because it was like such short notice, essentially I had to wing it. And thanks to Victor, because he also took a lot of things like shots, and he has a different perspective than me, probably a better perspective. But because of that, I had a much wider variety than I would have had if it was just me. And thanks to that, then I had what I needed to actually make a more or less okay video or decent video out of what we had. Now, how I'm feeling from vaccination. No, it's okay. So almost no pain. Can raise the arm, no pain. If I touch it, a little bit maybe, but almost nothing. Yesterday was exhausting. Thursday night, I couldn't sleep, was terrible. I went outside in my underwear because it was cool outside. And then I was all of a sudden freezing and went inside again and covered myself in blankets and stuff. Probably had fever, but I don't know. But because of our fever thermometer, I don't know how you pronounce it, went out of battery. So, yeah. I don't know if I had fever. I guess so. It wasn't on the level where I could certainly tell without measuring, but yeah, not so great. Way worse than the first one. But it was Moderna. You get Pfizer, right? Churros in the house? Exactly. Every time I see churros somewhere, I think of Victor. I had churros only once, and because of you, actually. And it was terrible. I have to say, it was terrible. Never had it again. But probably next time I need to go with a recommendation of you, and then it will be fantastic. Daniel says, I went outside in my underwear. Yeah. I mean, it was like 3 a.m. It was pretty dark and nobody outside. And I was wearing underwear. Again, I want to underline that. Underwear outside, eh? Already filming for OnlyFans, I see. No filming. As far as I know. Slayer Gerald, I'm afraid that the needle might poke my bones. I don't know. I think it didn't. They didn't pull it to the side like they could, as Victor explained. I don't know, maybe the needle is not long enough or so. Victor got the Pfizer and finished both. Okay. Pfizer is only 3 weeks in between, right? Oh, no side effects. Excellent. If you go back to live in Germany, will you find it difficult at first to adapt to a German way of life? Yeah, probably not at first, but for a long time. Just like, I think it's not easy to adapt to Japanese way of life, or maybe not possible completely. But again, it's also really hard to say, like, to generalize Japanese way of life. But of course, there's certain very clear differences to a German way of life. And then when I come back to Germany, I will see how much living here has changed me and how much the German way of life, so to say, has moved away from my way of life. And things like probably the food and so on, which I idealize now in my dreams, will be way too oily and all that stuff. So it will certainly be a challenge. Would certainly be a challenge. Which kind of churros? I like Mexican or Spanish or Catalan. Finding good churros is hard, says Victor, the expert on the subject. I'll hook you up with some with the good spots. Okay, ideally in Nagano, Victor. Mexican churros are the best. Mexican, dough, sugar, cinnamon is all you should need. Yeah, I love cinnamon, so that's good there. None of that filling or dip stuff. Okay, Daniel also had no side effects of Pfizer. Oh, did they really vex you? Yeah, maybe. You have some kind of conspiracy here. You should watch the new Joe Rogan video about the vaccination. I personally don't think it's safe and makes you potent to other viruses. Take care. Thanks for sharing, Ace King. Daniel says he was thinking, where's my microchip? I got saline. Oh. Joe Rogan gives misinformation. I mean, I can comment, I haven't seen the video and so on, but of course, what I can say is, or what I said in the beginning of the video, don't listen to me or stars or somebody. Listen to medical professionals and then form your own opinion about what is known, what is not known. We should probably, at least in Japan, if you have questions, you can have them answered. You should, I mean, there must be a doctor, I think, at least in my case. And if you have questions, you can ask them. And if you have concerns and say, no, I'm not sure, then you don't get it. Oh, nice. Victor got 5G connection, downloaded a car the other day. Yeah, I really unfortunate for me because my phone is still too old. It only has 4G, so I couldn't, get the most out of it. Too bad. Saline is like what they give you in the hospital to hydrate you. It's like basically body neutral. Saline. All right, saline. Okay, now, next video. That's the third topic we had for tonight. Oh yeah, no. For frame of travel, go to Instagram. Look there. That's probably the best. And Victor is also in Japan. He's been in Japan for like forever. How long? 11 years or something? Yeah, go to Instagram. Just search for frame of travel. Yeah, Victor just finished Fuji because once was not enough this year. I thought I saw his stories and I thought, is he uploading like stories from 2 weeks ago? Wait, no. He's going with somebody else this time. So my next video is about Naraijuku. And it's been in making for 2 months. I want to release it end of June. Beginning of July. Now it's with a little bit of goodwill, it's still beginning of August. And last week in the stream I said it will be out on Thursday. And it's not. So currently I'm still doing color grading. Going over it. Should be done tonight maybe if I continue after the stream. If not, then it will be done tomorrow morning. And then tomorrow afternoon or so it will be available to patrons. Finally. Then I need to get approval from Narai, the town, and then Thursday maybe it will be available. There will also be the full interviews because I interviewed 5 different people, and that's just way too long. There's like 1 hour of interviews. You can put that in one video and have it be entertaining and fun and like fast paced. So the whole long interviews will be available on Patreon, 1 new interview every week. And today I translated the first one, like 2/3 done, so probably also pretty smooth, no problem. Now it totally depends on how smooth it is, on whom I interviewed. Especially one person he mumbled a lot, maybe like me or worse, probably worse. And I needed my wife to translate some parts, and even she had troubles. So yeah. Still, I give my best to get it done. So schedule will be every week another interview in its entirety, and next week will be the Narai video. Yeah. Slayer Gerald has done a 7-day fast, so his immune system is impeccable now. He's basically impervious to all diseases. This is why I don't need the vaccine. I'm not sure about that, but I'm sure you did your research. And decided based on that. Danielle followed Frame of Travel on Insta. I didn't fast in the last time I was 20 or so, 14 years. Frame of Travel on Insta, yeah, exactly. Danielle followed on Insta, as you should do, because Victor has great photos. What ideas do you have for future videos? So the one after that will be, so I went to a ryokan here, not too far from here, which is run by a friend. my favorite place here in Japan. And there will be a video on that. There will be the next one probably. Then there will be a Kyoto house tour. I went to Kyoto a month ago and stayed at Kyo Machiya, which is owned by a friend. And he is renting it out, so you can book it. It's rather pricey, probably, if you're alone, but 4 people or so. It hosts up to 4, then it's pretty reasonable. It's like 200 a night, so 50 per night for a pretty nice place. And there will be a tour about that. And after that, I'm not sure. So I'm considering to get up early tomorrow at like 4 a.m. or leave the house at 4 a.m. and go up a mountain here. I want to leave so early, not because I want to catch sunrise or something like that. I'm not crazy like you, like Victor is. I'm not that cinematic or that enthusiastically cinematic. It just gets way too hot after that. So I want to be down the mountain by 10 a.m. If I don't do that, then maybe it would be just clever to do that later in the year. If I don't do that, I'm thinking about there's something called one-man trains, one-man resha here. That are trains with 2 cars and 1 driver. And to hop on one of these, explain how they actually work. They're like buses where you take a ticket. I have only one door to enter, take a ticket, go to front if you leave, and hand the ticket to the driver. And then just like drive through the countryside, get off at some stations, explore, maybe hopefully talk to people. And that will be another one. And after that, I have no plan so far. Can you do the interviews in your real Seattle accent instead of your fake German accent? Well, I don't know if you could identify it because it's in Japanese. And usually I try to cut myself out. So you can't hear how bad my Japanese actually is. Or how bad my accent actually is. How Seattle-like my accent actually is. Can you get a translation or English teaching job without a degree? Basically, maybe. Yes, you can. If you have been an English teacher or translator for enough time, 10 years or so. Usually 10 years is the number that is mentioned. There may be exceptions, like if you have a community college degree or so and taught English for 7 years or so, you may also get it. But generally, a degree is the faster way to get here if that's your plan, if that's all you want. But of course, there are other ways as well, like getting married to a Japanese person. Yeah, exactly. Victor tries to leave the summit by 9 a.m., the latest. Yeah. Daniel says, I think if you look at the Japanese immigration website, you will find that there are actually a few circumstances that don't require at least a bachelor's degree. I saw Daniel saw the Fuji pictures on Instagram. What does the post say? Something about Japan. At the top of Fuji. Highest point in Japan. Kengamine Peak. 3,776 meters. One day, Victor, one day I will come with you. Now, recently I can't climb mountains so well because my knee hurts a little bit when I go downhill a lot. So that's essentially my dependency. If I can make this work better again, so I'm working a lot on this right now, then maybe next year. Don't know. Also depends on Corona and how strict my wife is with me. Slayer Gerald has never been abroad, so he's sort of nervous about getting lost in Japan and not knowing what to do when you arrive here. Yeah, that's probably how it will be, actually, if I'm very honest. At least, I mean, it totally depends what kind of person you are. I'm rather introverted, at least for my cultural environment. Maybe not for Japan, but so I'm also not the person that talks to a lot of people out of the blue or so. So it takes some time for me to get used to things here. And if you're similar, then maybe the same. but it's fine. That's totally fine. You know, as long as you don't expect it to be different, and you think you come here and everything will be great and will be like, I don't know, marshmallow chocolate wonderland or whatever, then it's okay. Victor's knee was killing him. Still hurts today. I see. Well, I mean, for me, it's probably the muscle get too tight. Muscles get too tight, and that's why the knee hurts. That's all. But it still hurts. So I can essentially foam roll this away. But still, essentially, I need to get the tension in my muscles, like the what's the upper, the calves and the hamstrings. You know, I don't know if there's a different name for the other side of the hamstrings in English, or the front and back hamstrings. I don't know. If I need to get the tension down, and then it will be okay. Then, if you leave Japan, then what will happen to this channel? It's a Japan-only channel, right? Yeah, it is Japan. It's called Japanese Journey, of course. I don't know. I mean, first of all, I don't know if I will leave Japan actually, or if, then when. And also, I mean, even if I left, then I would probably go back here so frequently that if I wanted to continue, it would be possible on this topic. Or just change the name from Japanese to Johannes Journey, then still JJ, so that works. I don't know really what will happen. Who knows what the future brings. For now, I have a lot of content planned, so there will be no shortage in the next year or so. Have a smartphone with Google Maps and internet access and it should be mostly fine. Yeah, I mean, if that's physically lost, as in don't know the way and so on, then certainly, yeah. Victor with braces on both knees, says Soulful Sphinx. Mount Fuji broke Victor. I mean, Victor's a crazy walker. I mean, right? No, last weekend, was it? Second time Mount Fuji this year. Before that, the C2 summit. So you start at the lowest point in Japan, at the sea level, and then you walk to the highest point, the summit of Mount Fuji. And that's not a small task, right? And earlier this year, he did Tokaido, which is a road from Tokyo to Kyoto, walking without crew that carries all his stuff. Like, yeah. So then Quinlan from Go North just did a good video on English teaching. Oh, did he? Maybe it just didn't click because it's not interesting to me. He also made a good video about like friends in Japan and so on, or fitting in and so on. Maybe that's also good. And Victor actually did have 2 braces this time. Oh, and Soulful Sphinx knows. So FL Sphinx knows. Follow then. Can I send you my Japanese footage you edit and we can be frame of travel? I'm seriously considering this. I mean, because I think, especially things about the Tokaido and the C2 summit could be pretty great. The thing is though, so if we do something together and it's like your video and I want to support you by editing or so on, I don't want to tell you how to do it, right? Because then it will become my edit, not yours. Yeah, but if you really would like me to completely edit a video for you, I could see that happening. I don't know if all your videos, but maybe one or so. It would also be an interesting way to collaborate. I admit that I'd feel the same way, says Danny Panic. My first trip to abroad was to visit my brother in London 6 years ago and was a pretty easy way into international travel, but Japan was easy too. Yeah, I mean, Japan certainly, it's not like you end up in a dangerous area somewhere all of a sudden, or something bad happens to you because you're lost, or somebody cuts off an ear, or steals your phone or something. That's most likely, very, very likely not going to happen. So even if you lose your way and you do like lots of mistakes and don't know the etiquette and so on, which will certainly happen, that's fine. Every C2 summit climb is 57 kilometer total and 3,776 meter elevation. Knows Victor. It's done it 8 times. Okay, so Daniel had seen a dozen countries. Oh, then, and before visiting Japan, and knew at least kana and a handful of kanji. That means since Japan closed 1.5 years ago, within 4.5 years, you traveled 12 countries, another 11 countries, and Japan. That's a lot of traveling. All of a sudden, looks like you got the travel bug, and also still had the time to learn kana and some kanji. Okay, the language knowledge only improved the trip was not a necessity. Exactly. When I went to Japan first, I knew nothing really about the language. Somebody gave me a sheet in German, like Latin pronunciation and so on, Latin characters, German pronunciation, with like the very basics, like where's the toilet, my name is Johannes, and things like that. On the on the flight, on the plane. That's all I then knew by the end of the trip, and didn't use. But it's totally doable. However, disclaimer: I was in a group. I know, yeah, Victor has a lot of footage that he never released. Or never releases. Yes, collab. I mean, we can collab again anytime. Totally fine. And we have done it before. So Victor is actually more comfortable with that. Yeah, but it's about, you go on Mount Fuji and so on, it's about getting outside of your comfort zone. Oh, Victor, congratulations in order. I didn't get that. Every year, Daniel went to 3 to 5 countries with his brother and sister-in-law, and 3 to 5 cities each time. Wow. Then you have more holidays than I have. Your cheat sheet would be ja means ja, yes, in German. Exactly, that's how I learned Japanese. But this also now from when if you have children and they speak Japanese and German. German is ja, which means yes, and Japanese is ja, which means no, or ja, or yada. Then later, but children would be like ja, and then ja. And the first one is no, and the second one is yes. It can be confusing sometimes because the nuances get pretty close. Do I have? No, I don't have it here. Okay, anyway. So what was the next thing? So I think Daniel asked about the store. Upcoming store. Hopefully upcoming store. 3 products. What's the third? I think I said I bought 3 last time. So I had the bento box. Wooden bento box of sugi, Japanese cedar. Feels fantastic. Smells fantastic. I actually used it. I actually showed it to you wrong. So you actually can have it like in two. Well, you said it, floors. So basement and first floor. So you can fit probably a whole meal. And then there was the soup bowl, rice bowl, made out of wood. And I bought 2 of those. So that's the third one. So yeah, that's that. But then eventually, I mean, I have ideas like uchiwa, which is like a Japanese fan, not like the one you see here. Whoop, whoop, here. Not this one, not a fan that opens like, but one that is already open and can't be closed. It's very, I've seen it on in Japan. It's like bamboo, you split it, then you spread it open, and there over there goes the paper. It's kind of roundish and has like the handle, hold, grip thing. And I like them a lot. So I think there would be something I would like to sell if I find a good dealer here in Nagano. And some other things like Ninja Monkey suggested headbands. Yeah. Yeah, another one I thought about is like a jimbe, this Japanese summer clothing. I'm not really sure about that because then I would have to have different sizes in stock and so on, which may be logistically too challenging in the beginning. Also thinking about eventually offering foods, maybe. So something like the apple, like dried apple chips from here, or maybe tea, green tea. Somebody said I should offer all different Kit Kat flavors. Chopsticks, as Daniel says, yes, of course. But if you want to sell food in Japan, you need a special license for that. So you would have to apply for that and so on. So for probably first steps would be get the store up and running, get like a very basic 5 or so products, and then based on that, see how it will go. And chopsticks can go as a good add-on for the food package. Yeah, for example. I mean, it's not package is also a good idea. Like sell a combination and then you get some discount or so. You have to have a license to sell pre-packaged food even. I think so. I don't know though. I'm not a lawyer. I heard so. So it's like, yes, maybe. Bundle that stuff up, says Daniel. Yeah, I mean, a lot of YouTubers do things like, well, not a lot, I don't know, but some YouTubers do things like a snack package or something. So if you pay like $50 on Patreon, then you can get snacks. Or usually I see like there's 2 layers. One is postcards and one snacks. And postcards are like maybe $15 or something, and then snacks is 50 or so. And I don't know what that entails exactly, but obviously that's food that's kind of sold. So I don't know if that's actually legally perfectly clean. But maybe it's a donation and you get something, some present. John Daub does postcards. I think Life Where I'm From also does it, and so on. So yeah, I considered it as well, but then eventually I thought too much work. And I mean, if I had more time, then probably I would do that. Yeah. And then at some point, of course, I think also Greg does from Life and from Prince and also John, right? Prince the postcards. So yeah, there would be a lot of work. I don't know. Would I like to do that? If this became your full-time job, you'd make the time, I am sure. If it would, yes. But and if I didn't have a better idea, like if I could just do it through a regular shop, then I would do that because it pays more to me. But hard to do all this stuff when you're working a full-time job. Exactly. And have a family and so on. Learn Japanese, practice martial arts and so on. So yeah, really, ideal from a YouTube and work-life balance, everything else perspective would be to do this full-time as a main job and then do family, martial art, learning Japanese and so on in the actual spare time. But now with like 3 or 4 things that share the little spare time that is left, it's not so easy, of course. And family is always first, so if the kids are not asleep, I don't work on YouTube things. Generally. Sometimes though, if I really want to get something done, I ask my wife to maybe if she wants to visit her mom with the kids, and then I sit down and get some stuff done here. But when kids are here, it's not like go away, I have to do YouTube. Never. We did have another topic, I think. Talked about Corona, pasta, video topics, products. Was there anything else? Maybe I forgot. Next video? Yeah. No, oh yeah. Corona, pasta, next video, products. There were 5 things. All right. Well then. Do you watch anime? No. Generally not. Sometimes, yeah. What was the last one I watched? I forgot. I don't know. Maybe One Piece. Again, in Japanese this time. Did I watch anything else? I watched Baki on Netflix for the first season or so, maybe less, half season. Then it was not fun anymore. Yeah, so every now and then I watch something, and sometimes even intensely, like a couple of episodes a day. But it's like in phases. So sometimes I watch a lot if I can, and then you can watch anime without subtitles. You're a lucky guy. Actually, I think I watched with Japanese subtitles because it's easier. Or not because it's easier because I can see this kanji can be used like this. Try watching Attack on Titan. Maybe. So generally, I don't watch a lot. Then usually YouTube, because YouTube, with it how it's designed, is a smaller commitment. Like a 10-minute video, so a 5-minute is a smaller commitment than a 20-minute show, which has 100 episodes per season or so. So usually, if I watch something, then it's YouTube. And even that, I think I do too much. So I try to also limit that more. Yeah. But I heard good things about Attack on Titan, so maybe eventually at some point I may. Daniel scrolled back on the other window. Topics were vaccination, baking pasta, updates on building a house. Yeah, the house. Video and products and store products. All right, then we have it. It's better than Breaking Bad and Game of Thrones, which I haven't seen, but good to know. I mean, they got Game of Thrones now on Amazon Prime Japan. So I watched maybe half of the first episode. Took too long for me. Stopped it. Is it true that Japanese people are getting bored of their TV programs? I don't know. I mean, my wife still watches it. I still don't like it. I think it's too mundane, maybe. Or I mean, Japanese TV is very harmony focused, maybe. So there's never tension or anything. If it's like a show. If it's a drama or so, then the name says it already. There is drama, of course. But it's like the shows, it's never tension or conflict or anything. It's maybe comedy, usually comedy. Or interesting things. Yeah. But I mean, I can totally imagine that people don't get bored of that. But I don't know if Japanese people actually do. How can Daniel says, how can they get bored of all those programs where they have little boxes of people's faces in them? Yeah, and everybody's, hey? Are Japanese women generally traditional? I wish to marry one day. And Flo from ein Ticket zur Milchstraße is here. Hey Flo, good to have you here. Flo, by the way, is also planning to make a shop. So Flo is focused on Germany. So if you are from that area, he probably can support it. You can probably support him. He has great products from Kyoto, made in Kyoto, supporting businesses in Kyoto. Famous people here, says Flo. You mean Victor? I don't know if Victor is still here, but yeah. So Victor and Flo had conversations, as I know, as I've seen from Victor's Instagram stories. And Victor, Flo and I also did a live stream together, actually, when I visited Kyoto. Flo ist ein Ticket zur Milchstraße. I've heard positive things about Osaka, more positive things about Osaka and Tokyo when it comes to living there. Haven't heard anything about other cities though. What's your view on Japanese cities in Japan? Sorry, Victor. Flo is the Ein Ticket zur Milchstraße guy on the sick editing master here on Instagram. Exactly. Yeah. The guy with the flowers on Instagram. Yeah, exactly. The name probably. Sorry, totally confusing. Ein Ticket zur Milchstraße. So cities in Japan. Well, I've lived in Yokohama, which is kind of Tokyo. Was not bad, I think. During COVID, it got a little bit too intense, maybe being 4 people in a rather like 55 square meter 2 LDK apartment. So that's why we moved, more or less, kind of. This is short form. I've been to Osaka only once in summer. Was hot but enjoyable for a couple of days. So I never lived there. I can't really comment so much. I like Kyoto and how it's like still kind of city-ish, especially compared to here, but has all the low buildings and so on because of law regulations and so on. You can't build super high and all that. So I like that feeling. And but of course Nagano is obviously the best. I mean, no question. Otherwise I wouldn't be here. Yeah, I really can't say a lot probably. For me personally, I enjoy the countryside more, at least right now. This kind of countryside city. Sick editing master, confusing as fuck. No, we swear today. Confusing as fuck, says Flo. Hihinoshi. That dude that stalks your Insta, don't worry. Victor gave up on Instagram. Now I told people to follow you there. Yeah, it's not a photographer's platform anymore, said the CEO. Yeah, okay. Flo didn't say fuck, he said fork. Fork. Photographers not welcome anymore. I mean, at least, obviously, algorithm pushes like video content more. It's all TikTok's fault. God damn it. Also on YouTube, I mean, the stories, the shorts are so popular. Even I'm considering. I never did a short because it feels like it ruins my video list. But since I get really a lot of traction, maybe I will do one day. I have a good idea. Okay, time for Victor to move on somewhere. Good to have had you here, Victor. We can talk about the thing you proposed. Who knows? Maybe we can actually make it work. Oh well, no. That's all right. No, I totally like within 5 messages. I missed the context. That's what you mean. Move on somewhere else from Instagram, not from this live stream. Excellent. Benjamin is here. I hope you're doing all well and everybody's good. And I hope also you're at the beach now. He's in Italy right now. I think it's a Milchstraße says to Victor, you still have tons of people there, man. I think of at least 3% and at least 3% enjoy what you do there. If at least 3% enjoy what you do there, it's still worth it. He meant Insta. Yes, thanks. People want mindless content. Why are people like PewDiePie or the Paul brothers popular? Well, I mean, from an editing perspective and so on, the Pauls are not bad. PewDiePie I haven't watched recently, so I can't really tell. Actually, I've never seen a Paul video in its entirety, but I've seen editing breakdowns of them. So that's why I say that. Okay, Benjamin was at the beach today. Now it's 3 p.m. in Italy. People basically try to forget problems, so they need entertainment. Yeah, which is the wrong approach, I think, but maybe. When Japan is the ideal place to meet girls, not for hookups or anything, but for actual long-term relationships. Well, Flo says library if you speak Japanese. I would say at work. Probably. I think a lot of people actually, or university, a lot of people marry people they worked with before or studied with. Okay, it is 3:22 in Italy. Frame of travel, Victor likes PewDiePie. He's at a point where he can just chill and make stuff he wants. He's technically retired for life. Victor can respect the hustle. Yes, totally. Like in the beginning, every day, 1 or 2 videos or more. Unbelievable. What a pace. And and he also did it because he liked it, right? Not because he thought he can be the biggest YouTuber in the world. Because this kind of concept, making money from YouTube, or millions of YouTube, was not existing back in 2010 or whenever he started. Coffee shops says ein Ticket zur Milchstraße, places where nice women hang out. Just not clubs. Yeah, maybe just not clubs. That would be the other one, probably, the hookup thing. But I haven't. Oh, this light will get off soon. Yeah, out of battery. Okay. I've never been to Japan with the intention of dating or anything, so I'm not the strongest commenter on this subject. Probably Ein Ticket zur Milchstraße has much more experience in that regard. Of course, you can find people that look for long-term relationships or hookups on Tinder or any relationship app. So even though I'm not interested, I get if I would open up a YouTube video now, there's a 50% chance it would be a dating app advertisement in front of that. So it seems to be popular. Once you're out of school, your opportunities are more limited. You need to make opportunities. You need to make opportunities to meet people. Victor Frame of Travel says, it shows though every J-vlogger, quote unquote, who began YouTube when they offered money has failed or given up by now. Yeah, is there anybody else left? Maybe Paolo is left, right? He started after YouTube was monetized. So that's one. And I also started then, but I'm not on that level where I can do this full time, of course. Only people who remain are those with actual business sense or who were passionate to stick it through. Yeah, of course. Eventually you need to have business sense. and or be passionate. Yeah, you probably need to be passionate first, and then also have at least some business sense or some good friends or partners that have it. Would you recommend countryside or cities for IC for finding a wife? That depends probably. My feeling is countryside versus city is exactly what you would expect in terms of woman, at least comparing this city to Tokyo. In Tokyo, probably more fashionable, a little bit more focused forward or so, not looking at around yourself. Maybe more self-conscious, conscientious in this case, like when it comes to fashion and so on. Maybe a little bit more Fred. And here's the opposite. So yeah, the pace is also slower here and all that. So it's probably not where do you find the a wife easier. It's more like what kind of people do you usually find where. I'm just happy he is a big YouTuber. That guy has a brain. Think about a world where some other guy would have his influence. PewDiePie, that is. PewDiePie pushes bigoted ideas, says Daniel. Imagine Logan Paul as YouTube president would be worse. Maybe. Would say so too. Connection, insane passion, business sense, or already rich. Insane passion, business sense, already rich. Yeah, and then it's like, how to become a millionaire? First step, be a billionaire. Or the other one, how I got $500,000 in crypto. I took $1 million from my wife and invested it. So let me see where we. Oh, that's the wrong one. Today I restarted my computer. Doesn't happen a lot, but it froze. So M1 chips, the new Apple Silicon, still has issues every now and then. Especially Final Cut is, I don't know if it's M1's issue, or probably it's Final Cut. They have some memory leak somewhere, and it sometimes comes like you are running out of memory. Final Cut is using 25 gigabytes. And sometimes it's just freezing. And that happened today, and I had to restart. And that reminded me when I restarted and Steam opened that I have Steam on my machine. Even though it's a Mac. One day I will actually maybe play a game again. Yesterday was Hiroshima Day. I didn't know. A sad day. Think I got to brush teeth and sleep, then invest in crypto. Yes. Yes, I saw a message. Google News brought this or something about a new coin called JRR token. One token to rule them all. And like, God, now they make now they make coins based on fantasy and dad jokes. It's like, wow, it's getting better and better. There was quite some big stuff happening at the Dome. Oh, I see. Just installed Borderlands, but no time to play. Pewds just did a live stream with Joey. Yeah, they played something. I saw that. And swiped, like, very quickly went through it. Bye, trust me. Yes. If you are saying it, then I will. Is it better to get a car or use public transport? In Japan? Probably, yeah, depends on where you are. So if you're in a city like this, you don't need a car. If you have kids, then it becomes much closer to a necessity. If you are in Tokyo or Tokyo metropolitan area, you probably have no strong reason for a car, even with kids. Cost-wise, no car is cheaper. Probably. Yeah, in most cases. So, for example, in Tokyo, we had a car for the last 6 months or so. Just parking was like $150 a month. And then insurance, gasoline, all that. Then if you want to go far, you have to pay a toll on the highway. So it's much cheaper probably if you rent a car if you have to or need something like that. This flexibility, and otherwise take public transportation. So one reason I see to rent a car is if I would go to Germany and came back here and I would have to quarantine but can't take the public transport to go home, then I would rent a car and go here, give it back in Nagano and quarantine. Even though I couldn't give it back, how would that happen? I don't know. Not try to say that I have a chance at being popular, but damn, I hope I never really become super successful on any media platform, says Frame of Travel Victor. I'm not sure if you're honest. Because, I mean, probably, right, at some point, if you do this, YouTube or Instagram, at some point you have something that gets some mild virality, some smaller viral success, where a video all of a sudden gets like 100,000 views in a day or so. It's quite interesting. I mean, obviously a lot of assholes appear all of a sudden out of the blue, but still, it's like pretty exciting, I feel. And then also like pushing another video after that and seeing how it's doing and or picture or so. I think I can get this, and I can also see how this may be addicting, especially if you're growing. But then, of course, it's on the other side, when it's going down, then it's super frustrating and all that stuff. So eventually, hopefully, whether you're famous or not, you have the capability to detach yourself a bit from these numbers. And then, best mode of transportation is private helicopter. I'm not sure. Depends, probably. Maybe plane would be better. That's a problem for sure. You get ripped apart. Says, ein Ticket zur Milchstraße. Daniel, to Victor, Frame of Travel, presumably you could explain away one or two things. If it ends up being several things, then maybe you got to consider that maybe it's not just everyone else. Where are we talking about right now? Sorry, I missed one. So Victor said, I wouldn't want to be judged for saying something off or doing something via an accident. I see. Now I get the context. Do you think one should bring hard cash to Japan instead of credit card? I ask because Japan is a cash-oriented country. Well, I mean, you can get cash with your credit card from the ATM, but it makes sense to carry cash on you. God forbid I say something now that in 10 to 15 years becomes PC and some website digs through my old vids just to stir the pot. Says Victor. Daniel, then depends on what it is. I mean, maybe 10 years ago it actually wasn't really that good of an idea to do blackface, for example. Yeah, I mean, certainly. Yeah, I don't want to pick sides here. Please continue the discussion if you want to, if you feel like it's brightening up your day. Okay, Daniel won't delve into the topic any further. In the end, you don't seem like someone saying something so unforgivable that the internet will chop your head off. Says, ein Ticket zur Milchstraße to Frame of Travel. And since there is always hate, just stick to all the supporting peeps. Well, look at what happened to Jana Marbles for stuff people considered somewhat acceptable at the time. I totally don't know what the story there or the background, but it's fine. I'm okay. Victor agrees with Daniel to a point, but it seems that if you have a big following, there are people that there are people ready to actively trying to take you down. I think it's Milchstraße also doesn't know what happened to Jenna. I have to Google that. Jenna Marbles. Jenna Marbles. Oh, she's even older than me. Ha! That's a plus. Is so FL Sphinx from South Florida? Ask Daniel. But then the second L would also be small, lowercase, right? Okay, so I do the usual announcement. Let's do 9 more minutes. Then we are at 1:45. That's a nice number. Probably, as you know, we don't keep that, but let's focus. Try to achieve this goal. Your work motivates too many people to just stop it just because of a possible risk to lose. Says, ein Ticket zur Milchstraße. Yeah, I mean, in the end, it's probably just about your future and present. Right, this something I like to mention is the sunk cost fallacy, which means what you invested is not relevant for a rational decision now. If it's an investment that is ongoing, then it is. Ein Ticket zur Milchstraße says, I would always be a guy going against 10 to have 1. That's very kind. Oh, it is actually from South Florida. Wow. Daniel, you should become a detective. How long does it take for a visa to get processed? Oh, how long did it take for me? So for the first one, that's probably the one that you're talking about, right? I forgot. It was rather quick for me, like 2 weeks or something. But that's not the norm. Maybe because it's Nagano here. This is a branch office of the Tokyo one, but still, I think 4 weeks or so is the more normal range. And for permanent, it's like it says like between 4 and 6 months, maybe faster, maybe now. Yeah, but like the first one, when you originally want to come to Japan, I think you like 4 weeks maybe. Meitante Conan. Meitante Daniel. Marisha Kerirat. Hi man, I arrived in Cologne last week. Nice. Everybody was on vacation in the company, didn't do much. How is the vacation time in Japan for companies? Well, right now is August, which is usually the summer vacation time. So many people take like a week off or so. But it's not as extreme in Germany, where everybody has 6 weeks of holidays per year. So probably it's not to the same extent as in Germany. Because Bavaria, Oh no, sorry, probably also Cologne has summer vacation at the school now. I don't know where it ends in Cologne, but generally summer vacation is 6 weeks. So most people with family will be off for at least 2 weeks, probably. In Japan, it's not that extreme, but it certainly happens. Lots of people take off now. It's a little bit slower. I'm also thinking taking 2 weeks off. If so, probably we won't have live streams. If I will go somewhere with my family or not. Alone, maybe. But yeah, it doesn't happen. It does. It happens. People take off, but not as much as in Germany. It's not kind or right. It's just a personal thing without any good or bad in it. Maybe the going against 10 to have one from Flo. The first one, do you mean tourist visa? Ah, no, I mean the when you get the initial visa, then you have to provide more documents and it takes longer to process. And then if you extend, then it doesn't need as many and doesn't take as long. That's what I mean. The first work visa, for example. And Ticket to Milchstraße says, anyways, got to sleep. Keep going, Victor. I could push my editing to the next level just because I could watch you doing what you do on Instagram, especially. I'm just one person, but there is more. Thanks for sharing, Flo. Also, JJ, keep going, man. Okay. Rebecca Verwoerd. I think you said you work in IT. Did you do a study before you got a job? I mean, I studied computer science and economics or business or management or whatever, how you want to translate it. And started my company and then worked that. And then I moved here and then applied. So yeah, I studied IT related and I worked in IT. Yeah. And Victor's happy for Antike zur Milchstraße's encouraging words. Nice. Yeah, good to have you all here tonight. Very kind of you. At a small little stream. Aminox is not here tonight. I hope he's doing fine. I hope he's on vacation somewhere. Milchstraße, is that like Milk Street or something? Yeah, it's Milky Way. So a ticket to Milky Way. And it's misspelled actually. Which he knows. So the Straße, the double S would actually be an S, like the German character that looks like a little bit like a B. SZ is actually where it's coming from. So a combination of S and Z. Of old writing of S and Z. It uses the other one, it looks like a B, exactly. Right. Did you know on a Mac, if you press long on a letter, then it brings up alternatives? Like this one. So, many people leaving right now. I don't know why, but maybe the SZ, SZ, that's why. But it's a good timing, I think. We are at 1:45 almost. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being here tonight, this evening. It was my pleasure, as always. And it will probably happen again next week. If not, because I'm on vacation or somewhere, I will do a community post also on Twitter. So if you're waiting and it doesn't happen, then that's why. But for now, I think it will happen as always, Saturday, 9 p.m. Japanese time. Yeah, have a nice night as well. And it's the same as in Scheisse. Yes, that's right. I could explain now when you use this, but it would be too much. So, but exactly, now we are at a level of education where you can say, perfect, let's keep it there and end the stream. So thank you everybody for being here tonight. Thank you for watching.